Grand Rising, everybody. So, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Getting on here to talk about twin flames, pretty crazy topic, if you will. Um, and of course, we have Pam. Hello, darling.
Hello, good morning.
Get started with the twin flames. But for us to get started, we have to talk about the myth. Now, I don't know how many people out there have even heard of the term, understand the phrase, looked it up, don't believe it. I can tell you I'm a skeptic of anything that comes to romantic stuff, right? I'm a realist on that kind of stuff, I guess. Um, until you become the victim
The victim, nice.
of something and you start to question, what the hell's going on with you? Why are you going through this? What does it even mean? And that's how I found my way to the twin flame story. Just because I was going through some stuff where I couldn't really explain it. Now, I do want to say this before we get into the theory or the myth, and Pam, you as well, giving your kind of
Disclaimers.
background. Yeah. Well, yeah, disclaimers, and not just disclaimers, but kind of like giving your expertise about what we
Yeah.
understand about mythology, because narrative and myth is so critical
Yes.
in our culture and as human beings. And when we have a narrative to sort of connect to, it helps us to make sense of the world. And that's
Yeah.
what I'll say about the twin flame, right? This is not some woo-woo podcast about we're looking for the love of our lives. I'm not one of those people, never have been, and I'm never going to be. But I will tell you the beauty of the twin flame. But before that, it's myth, which is important because this is a
Yes.
consciousness show. That myth, if we look to myth, it gives us kind of an indication of where we are in our life and kind of where we are in the hero's journey. So myth is really powerful when we're sort of stuck in something that we can't seem to get out of. So maybe we've gone to therapy, we've done it all. We're like, what the hell? Why am I still experiencing this crazy world? And then I go to myth, and the myth sometimes I'm like, okay, it gives me a narrative to understand.
Yes.
So tell me what you think about the myth and like how does that carry weight?
Okay, so for me, yeah, so the disclaimer first, I guess, right? I've kind of stayed away from this topic because it is a lot of, I think, not controversy, but just misunderstanding and I hate to say the word ignorance, but I think in some instance, um, there's just, yeah, there's so much rocky water territory. Um, so for me, like what I discovered, what myth story really speaks to me is the ancient Greek story of humans having, like these four arms and four legs and these two faces, and they were so powerful that Zeus feared them. So he split them in half and cast them to opposite ends of the world. And they would have to spend, lifetimes and lifetimes just trying to reconnect, find each other, find, themselves and be whole again. So that was a very, very powerful myth story that I came across and just really resonated with. I feel like it's that cellular kind of memory that, when you just know something, as you read it, it kind of gives you, goosebumps or whatever. So that was kind of like my first sign, like, wow, there's really something more than to this than just being like a made up kind of story. Um,
Yeah.
mm,
And the power of myth, like overall, right, on the hero's journey. Because this is one myth, and we're talking about the twin flame myth this episode because it's impacted my life. And just
yeah.
things are happening that are stranger than I can understand. And part of me is like, perhaps the other individual doesn't even feel the same way, but whatever's happening to me, it's changing my life. So gives me a narrative, gives me a container to hold it, gives me a way to understand it. And I think overall myth can do that for you no matter like what you're experiencing. It doesn't have to be the twin flame.
Mm,
But the twin flame, that's kind of the myth that we're talking about today. And then, as Pam said, the myth behind the twin flame is the fact that, these humans used to be whole connected, the
yeah.
forearms, the two faces, the whatever it is, and we were a creature that was interconnected and then somehow got split apart. I mean, and it makes sense because separation is probably one of the biggest things that we experience in this mechanistic, this 3D world. It's not, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm still half asleep, people. Bear with me. But that we experience in this three-dimensional time space. And then myth gives us like I said, a narrative to help us move through it.
Yeah.
So the twin flames narrative. So Pam gave us a little bit of insight into that myth, particularly where, you get separated. And so you're sort of like longing for this part of you that you feels missing.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know, I can say that probably a lot of people feel that way just in general,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we're
Right.
communal beings, but it's like, what makes that twin flame story different from just everybody's day occurrence? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I think that's important too, right? To kind of clarify, because our culture or, different cultures, there's this theme of soulmate, which I think we're so common and common knowledge. Right. Oh my gosh, it's early. I'm like tripping over my own words
I
here
know.
too. Uh,
That's
but
okay.
but yeah, so like looking at the types of relationships, because everything is a relationship, regardless if it's romantic and intimate or business, or family kind of partner relationships. That's just how we experience the world around us and grow. So karmic is going to be someone who comes in your life to really hit the karma, to really just kind of maybe teach you a quick lesson, or to just even kind of show you where you've already grown and the things you've already dealt with. So it'll be almost like this person that kind of triggers all these things, and you're like, no, I've worked through this. I don't need to do it again, right? So karmic can be very quick, maybe like a week or a month. And then with soulmates are going to be like your family. It's going to be your children, your, a spouse who you do end up marrying, or life partners, or, whatever. But it's also like, yeah, your grandparents, I mean, there could be best friends that are soulmates. So it's really like your soul family, this group that you incarnated with to learn all of these lessons. And so that's obviously the most popular, the most common. And then twin flames are rare. And there's even mythology that kind of goes back to, like, the Bible and the 144,000, that kind of number and that myth story there. But with the twin flames, it's your soul. It's your soul that's split in half. And so, right, going back to them being whole and united, it's this androgynous being. That's why it's, the four arms, four legs, because it's the masculine and the feminine in this one whole aspect. And so it's an androgynous kind of energy. So when that splits, and this is where I really, really take the imagery of the yin yang, because it's that wholeness, right? The harmony, the flowing, the equilibrium of it. And then it's almost like it breaks in half, like, where they used to make the jewelry out of it with your best friend, and you could put the pieces together. And so it's like, that's how I visualize it. So here I am in my feminine energy, but I still have that little dot of masculine. And so now I have to learn to heal and integrate and balance my feminine and my masculine, while the other half of my soul that takes on that masculine energy is out in the world doing their work, to bring their feminine into healing and into balance. And so it's like you're separate and you're whole on yourself, but when you come together and reunite, it's just much more, I guess, powerful, power, yeah, like a more conscious kind of powerful energy. And I feel like that's where that fear and that separation of the myth story kind of comes in, so that people aren't kind of navigating life from that higher kind of mastery sense of, this alchemical being who does the work and reintegrates himself.
Yeah, I think so. So here's the deal with the twin flame, and here's why we're talking about it. Now, as I said, I personally don't believe in this woo-woo stuff. Like this woo-woo stuff. I
Really, Natalie? You're still gonna say you don't believe in it? Really? Just a little.
I'm trying to separate myself from it, but it's not letting me. And I'm in the grips and the clutches of this myth. Now,
Right.
I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story and why this has become such a huge focus of my attention, the myth itself, and what I love about the myth itself. Because twin flames, I think, gets very convoluted by mass media, and I think people who
Yeah.
are woo-woo people, the people
Yeah.
that are like, "Oh, happy ever after, my Prince Charlie,"
Right.
and I'm just not one of those people. And this is never gonna be one of those people.
Mm.
I'm not expecting someone to get on their white horse, right? It's possible. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I don't believe that, right?
Yeah.
So, the twin flame story, what I love about it, when I started reading up on it because, kind of what I was going through, right, is that, I had, sort of, and I don't even know if I can say dated this individual, right? I don't even think that I would say dated, but met an individual at one point in my life, and had a huge impact on me. And the minute that I met them, right, and this is the weird part for me, is I just started crying. Like, I don't know how to explain the energy or the magnetic field of that
Mm.
energy that came into my space, and I
Yeah.
started crying. Well, first of all, I don't cry. Well, I do, but I at the time, I was like one of those people like, "Don't cry," I was, like, very strong, and I just cried, and I couldn't stop crying. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you were talking about, like, healing the sacred feminine energy that I think a lot of stuff was just built up, right? I had a father who was like, "Don't cry, man." He was like a drill sergeant. He was crazy. And so, I was like, "I'm strong, I'm powerful." I started to cry, like, just I don't even know. It was this wave of energy. It was
Yeah.
bigger than I could understand. I don't even know where it came from, right? And I'm like, "This is weird." And it was almost like I could feel the person's energy, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, I was like, "Whoa, this is like huge. This is bigger than me." And then there was almost this sense of like being able to feel their energy, feel where they and so as time goes on, of course, and you'll understand, we'll go over the myth of the twin flame where there's a separation period, right? Where there's a
Yeah.
chaser and a runner,
Yeah, there's
and
definitely
here I am.
stages and roles, and
We're gonna
there's
have
so many rules.
Chasers Anonymous because I'm a
Yeah.
chaser,
Same,
which is
same.
not fun. It's and
No.
it's the song, "Everybody plays a fool." That's how I always felt because I was like, "I'll never play the fool." Well, here I am in I can't even speak. Full mode, okay?
Right.
That's like full and then full. Okay, hopefully you guys understand what the hell I'm talking about. If you don't, it's okay. Um, so feeling the energy, then, not understanding what happened, this individual just kinda disappears, like, ghosts me, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
"What the hell?" Like, for me, I don't understand the ghosting stuff, so, we're not gonna get into ghosting today, but,
It's just the way the runner runs, man. They
I
just
just
gotta
get
get out of
just,
there.
like, disappeared like Houdini.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is weird." But here I am feeling this love for this individual that I don't
Yeah.
even understand why.
Yeah.
Okay, so years go
So intense.
by, and this person doesn't go away, right? Always in my thoughts, always on my mind, every single day. I'm like, "Wow, this is like, what is this?" And typically, and before, really easy for me to just let go and be like, "Go live your life, have fun, see you later."
Yeah.
But not with this individual. And that was where I started to like I couldn't understand it. Years had gone by. Hadn't even talked for years, and I could still feel this, like, feel the energy of this
Yeah.
individual, see these signs. And I didn't come to this twin flame myth I call it a theory. I didn't come to the theory until actually maybe 2 months ago, because you wouldn't see me reading up on some woo-woo stuff, right? I'm like, "I'm gonna get rid of this. This is done. I'm" you know what I mean? I'm strong. I've
Oh,
gotten over everything, like, I'm gonna
yeah.
focus on my mission and vision, and, "You are feeling the presence of a demon." No, it wasn't a demon.
Yeah,
I guess
definitely
it will
not.
be in your mind today because we're about to fall in love. Oh.
Nice. I love love.
Right. You're funny. That's a funny quote. Please, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're in a twin flame scenario, it's not fun at all. So I
Yeah.
don't know why these people who are like, "I'm looking for my twin flame," I'm
Yeah.
trying to be like, "Cut the cord. Go
Yeah,
away."
you definitely can't cut the cord. There's no cord removal. Oh, and yeah, I've definitely seen people like, "How do I find mine?" And it's like, well, maybe that's part of it. If you're feeling this calling to look, maybe because that's the thing. Everybody has a different myth story for certain.
Sure.
And the more that you can pay attention to the cycles and, like you're saying, the signs, the synchronicities, the patterns, like that will be the universe kind of guiding you and messaging you. And yeah, I think that's one way to understand, because it's not like like you said, there's stages, there's roles, there's so much more to it that it's complex. So it's not like a normal soulmate kind of feel good and easy relationship.
Uneasy. Go away.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So I'm always telling God, just leave me alone. Um, But so part of it okay, so part of the myth, so Pam told you kind of the beginning, right? Where we start off 4 arms, 4 legs. This is the myth. It's a myth, you guys, a myth, okay? And it was a narrative for me to try to process so I could move forward of what was happening to me
Mm,
because nothing like this has ever happened to me.
yeah.
And so I didn't understand where to go. And part of this I just want to say this. Part of this is yes about the twin flame, but it's also about finding your myth because if you
Hmm.
find your myth, then it's easier for you to navigate the world. You're not going crazy. I can tell you that right now, because there's something bigger at play. There's these bigger patterns at play, and if we can figure out what those bigger patterns are, it makes it a lot easier for us to navigate the waters and kind of figure out, well, what's next? How do I move forward? So for me, it had been years. I mean, my God, this has been going on for, I don't know, probably 8 years, 7 to 8 years or something like
Mine,
that.
yeah, mine started in childhood and then reconvened, I would say 9 years ago. So absolutely, it's not a quick and easy way in and way out. It's cycles and cycles and cycles repeating. Absolutely.
Yeah, so the next part of the myth, right, is like, well, you meet this individual, right? And it's like, whoa, I know you. How do I
Mm.
know you? And it's weird. And like, I don't remember shit about people sometimes. Okay, I'm just being honest. Okay, this is the truth. I don't like.
Yeah.
Things go out of my head, and I'm like, next thing. But for some reason, everything this individual tells me, I remember. I know. I feel this energy. I have this care, concern for the individual. And so we're not talking for the very long time, but every day I'm like, this person's on my mind and this and that and
Yeah.
the other. Of course, there's signs. I think you can find signs in everything. I'll get back to that. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. So just bear with me. I'm going to give the story to you, I promise. But I know. But so the individual, constantly on my mind and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why? I
Mm,
don't understand why. Years have gone by, and in the myth story of the twin flame, is that the energy is so powerful that if the individuals are not doing their work together, meaning their spiritual work, and this is where I was like, okay, I can get on board with this myth. I like it. If they're not doing their spiritual work because twin flames have this divine calling that's greater than their own understanding, right? Because
yep.
they're a soul that kind of just separated, right?
Yeah.
And so then anyway, it's like so I'm sorry, I'm reading these I think that my energy is pairing the two of you. I like your personality. You have some jokes. I like jokes. That's good, Pasqua. You're gonna get my mind off things. Like, redirect your energy. I might keep you around so that I can stop thinking about this. Anyway, um, in the myth. when the separation happens. So if you meet your twin flame in this lifetime, the story goes, or the myth goes, right?
Mhm.
Um, is that eventually the energy might be too powerful for one individual who's not doing the work. And usually one person has awoke, right? In other words, they're
Mhm.
doing this spiritual work. They're digging deeper to find meaning and purpose in their life. And so they end up meeting. Well, okay, so the myth goes is that one is not ready for all of that wokeness. And I don't mean woke is in the woke movement. I'm talking about like all of that awakening, all of
Yeah.
that spiritual movement, right? And they freak out and they run away.
Yeah.
They run away. There's nothing wrong, it's purely unconditional love, especially from the chaser. So what ends up happening is these roles kind of play out in the myth. And the role of the chaser is this individual who's like, I love you. I care about you.
Mm.
I want to be around you. I want to know you're okay. How are you doing? There's this deep feeling of, I want to make sure that you're okay. And I'm here to hold your hand. And I'm here to support you. And I'm here to guide you. I don't need to be with you. I just wanna talk to you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I just wanna know you're okay. Let's have conversations, whatever. But the magnitude of that love, that unconditional love becomes too much for, I guess, one of the twin flames, and the other one starts to run away.
Yeah.
And so then they become in this perpetual cycle of somebody chasing and somebody running. Well, guess
Yeah.
who's the chaser? I'm
Both of
the
us.
chaser. I'm the chaser. Why am I the chaser? I don't wanna be the chaser. Don't chase. But here I am stuck in this cycle of chasing. I'm like, "What the hell's wrong with me? This is not me, right? This is not who I am." I will let go of anything, right? So, I will let go of all of it. I'm like, "I'm done. I'm done." Like, I just never have had this feeling, right, about an individual, but I feel this unconditional love
Yeah.
towards this individual that I don't even need to be with them. I just want to talk to them. Just having them around, something about that makes me feel safe and calm.
Yep.
And it is like this other part of you. And it even makes me cry because I'm like, why are you running away from me? I don't understand. Did I do something? At least tell me. That's another thing. It's like, hey, you don't want to be
Yeah.
around me, just say, I hate you, you bug me, and I'll be like, okay, fine. I'd rather the
Yeah.
ego get bruised, right? And then I can like
Right.
have a reason to separate from an individual. But to
Yeah.
just ghost an individual, right, like that is just, I think it's harsh, and I don't really understand it because there's no reason when I'm not even asking for anything, right? So I
Yeah.
think that was the hardest thing for me, right? I'm not asking, I just wanna connect. That's
Yeah.
the only ask. Okay, so I'm asking for something, connection. Okay?
Right. I just
Right.
wanna communicate, like, just yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Just
totally understand. It's
communicate.
my same
Uh-huh.
experience. Yeah, the ghosting. It's like, "Please
Uh-huh.
don't do that, it hurts." It makes me think, like, it's my fault, like, I've done something, and when I know it's not the case. Oh, man. But I will say with the twin flames too, like, we are bringing in past life karmas. We are bringing in ancestral and intergenerational, right? Where we're the ones that are doing the work for our bloodlines.
Mhm.
And then you have all of the collective, chaos and wounding and all of the shadows. So it's like layer upon layer of like just work that you're digging through. So
Mhm.
it's so hard sometimes because if you can't understand, okay, well, right now in this phase, we're dealing on past life abandonment and rejection issues that need to be healed. Or, okay, right now in this cycle, we're dealing with our parenting, how we were parented and now how we are parenting our children.
Mhm.
And so it's like all of these different things that keep coming up that have to be healed and cleared. And what, like you were talking about too, that I think is really important for people to understand that connection. You are never, ever, ever going to cut those cords. You are just not, because it is like the umbilical cords. We are the fetus and the placenta, like attached to each other. You know what I mean? There's these vibrational energies through the chakras. And that is one way for people that are looking for their twin flame there is a guided meditation, and you go into your heart chakra, and it's a golden like cord, right? Like a thread, umbilical cord, whatever. And it connects from heart center to heart center, so that can never be broken. And if you can tap into that, then you can usually, from my experience, it definitely helped me pinpoint my twin flame. But yeah, you're going to wake up from dreams with their energy like entwined, because you're doing healing, you're doing other things in the dream states. um so yeah, it is, and then we cause our own suffering from it.
Yeah, don't look for your twin flame. That's my advice. I
Just
don't
be
know why people
happy.
I don't know why people would actively look for this because again, why not? Um, because the reason why not, well, for me, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for me, um, I'm good alone. I do good by myself. I'm really good on my own. Relationships things is never something you'll hear me talk about. I kind of talked about that at the beginning. Um, because it actually surfaces a lot of crap. So I think people have the misconception that this twin flame is like, oh, the love of my life. I'm not one of those people, never have been, and I'm never gonna be.
Yeah.
And so yeah, not even with me. So this individual, okay. If you're gonna keep my mind off the individual, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Um, um, the twin flame story is not fun. It triggers in you the parts of you that need to be healed.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because if you're on a spiritual journey and if
Yeah.
you're looking and searching and grabbing at really healing your internal self, then I mean it's needed, it's necessary. And I understand why it showed up in my life because definitely uprooted these darker places inside of me that I wasn't looking at and didn't really understand. So the twin flame is not there to be this magical um it's not this magical like fairy tale story. It's nothing like that, and I think I wanna talk about twin flame because I think people think like that. They think that
Mm.
it's this love story that's so beautiful, and I think that people might be, they're actively looking for a twin flame, and I'm like, "Dude, it's
Yeah.
not fun." It is not a fun thing to go through.
Mm.
It's not fun because it triggers inside of you those deep wounds that you have to look at and face, and if you're not ready for that, you know, trust me, you don't wanna throw
Yeah.
yourself into the fire. Now, I wasn't even looking for this, right? I wasn't looking
Right.
for no twin flame, and the only reason that I came across the myth is because I was trying to understand what the hell was going on with me. Why? Why is this individual always on my mind? Why do I think about this person every day? Why? And I was like, "Okay, I need to figure out how to, like, get rid of this." I figured out how to wash it away, and then what happened and the reason the scenario came up is because Pam and I are connecting and I told her, "Can you just kind of read my cards or, oracle cards or something? I can't, you know, this person and weird stuff. I'll go over what happened with us, right? There's a lot to it, but when she read my card, she brought up the concept of the twin flame, and I was like, "What is that? What exactly is that?" And honestly, you guys have only been on this journey of twin flame for I don't maybe a month. I don't know, maybe 2.
Well, that you're consciously aware. It definitely started a lot longer.
Yes. Yes, yes, okay, fine, that I'm consciously aware of. Um, and so I was like, What is the twin flame anyway?" And so she kind of started telling me, and I was like, I don't know." And then I started reading myself. And the reason why I was okay with jumping on board with this mythology and saying, this is a good narrative for me to understand what's going on with me, is that the twin flame journey wasn't about me trying to end up with this person. That I
Mm.
didn't read anything like that. It was like, girlfriend, you need to focus on your own shit. You can't
Right. Yeah. And I think
just
that's where people get thrown off, because, like you said about the fairy tale aspect, because it is supposed to lead to like self love, right? And this own inner union.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah, you got to focus
So
on you.
yep. And I love that because that's what I love to do. I love to focus on healing my internal self first, right? Like I can't
Mm,
be of service to humanity if I can't even service myself. Or be of service myself. I don't be of service to myself. My God, this is too early. Laughing at all this stuff. A mirror sort of thing. Yes, a mirror
yeah,
soul. Yes, you're getting it. That's exactly what it is.
yeah.
Now, and yes. So task one, good job. You're on
Right.
point, you're on point. But that's exactly what is a mirroring where you're sort of but the mirror that you're looking at sometimes is not really the reflection you wanna see, right?
No.
And so that's where the chaser runner, I think, comes in, right? Because the runner's
Yeah.
like, "Hell no, I ain't looking at none of this. I
Right.
don't wanna
It's a
go see."
love too overwhelming.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go zoom out. It's
Yeah.
like ghost. And then, the funny thing about it is, and here's the part, it's like, yeah, ghost. Okay. So the chaser is constantly doesn't get scary. It's getting scary, not scary, but I think for me it's getting weird because I was just telling Pam this morning, last night before I went to bed, I'm like, you know what? This isn't the twin flame story is not my story because the other person is not even paying, they don't care. They're just going on with their life, right? I'm the one who's hurting. I'm the one who's suffering. They don't give a crap about what's going on with me. Um, and she's like, I wonder what they're experiencing, right? I wonder what they're experiencing or if they're having experiences. And I'm like, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I just know that this narrative, this particular myth is helping me move through something that I can't understand on
Yeah.
my own. And I think that's the beauty of looking to myths in
Yeah.
general, not just the twin flame, but I'm going through some twin flame myth story for myself. Now, the other individual could not maybe not give two shits about me. I don't know, but I don't
Mm,
believe that, right? It's just hard. I don't know. Who
right.
knows? Tell us Pam, about the twin flame. What happened to the other
Right.
person? Because I don't
Well,
know.
well, that's part of the theory, right? As you say,
Mm.
because you're connected and the energy cords are always attached.
Uh-huh.
It's telepathy. Like you're always gonna, you know what I mean, have this telepathy like communication. You're gonna be on each other's mind. And that's why I was like, the more you can understand like what's your energy and your thoughts, it keeps you from getting all entwined in it. But they are longing for you. They are missing you. And even if only one is doing the healing work, it's still going to upgrade them. It's still, you know what I mean? There's no way that they can escape that. It's going to raise their vibrational field. So they are going to have tower moments. They are going to have like triggers from their, soulmate relationships. So again, it's all about conscious awareness. Maybe they're not understanding fully what they're going through or why they're feeling maybe sadness or longing as well, and they try and again now deal with their coping mechanisms and avoidance type things, but at the end of the day it's still gonna be in the back of their mind. They're still gonna pick up on it. So what I like is the more like that you do the work and the more that you come into union with yourself, um, you it gets easier. Like it has gotten easier for me. There's been a lot of suffering. There's been a lot of pain and turmoil. There's been a lot of dark nights of the soul. But the other side of that beauty is like all of the healing that I've gone through and knowing like, okay, even if we're not talking and this person's not in my life, I know like if we did communicate, we would just pick right up where we left off, regardless of the time and the space. And I think it would show wherever we are in that stage of evolution.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it is. It's hard because I mean, unlike you in a way, like I really did want to end up. Like for me, like this was my person.
Mhm.
This was somebody that I kept thinking, oh, the path is leading us home, right? As within, so without. If I'm integrating within, like it has to show up in my physical reality when they're ready and when I'm ready. And now I'm at a point where like I have no idea. Like, I don't, that hope's not even there. Like, that was a hard thing to deal with. Just like this hope, like a flame that internally would burn and would never really kind of go out. But now, yeah, it's just like a surrender and a release of attachment to outcomes.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and ladies, you have too much information. We do have a lot of information. That's why we have women of consciousness.
Right.
Hello.
It's what happens when you live it every day for a decade. And then you're like, I'm going to do the research. I'm going to do like, I'm so committed to healing. Like,
We're
yeah,
It's a journey, and you know what?
yeah,
We're spiritual alchemists, right? That's what happens with
absolutely.
spiritual
Yeah,
alchemy. It's like
yeah,
you are willing to transmute the energy, willing to go through the dark night of the
yeah,
souls, willing to go through the darkness, willing to face it, willing to be authentic enough to articulate it and say it.
yeah,
Me telling this individual that I loved him. The funny thing is with this narrative, right, of how I feel about this individual is that when I met him, um, and I felt this love, I had no blocks in saying I love you, right? But the comeback was like, "Well, you love everybody." But it's true, I do love everybody, right? And I was like, "Well, that's true, but it was
mm.
different, right?" There was this different love for this individual. It's like, "I know you, like I feel your energy. I can feel you. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I didn't even ask for it. I was not asking for this, right?"
Right.
I didn't sit there at night saying, "Please send me somebody." No, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was frustrating for me because I typically don't experience life that way, and I've had relationships in the past and stuff, and I'm like, I get over them easily. It's just like, I have a mission, I have a bigger purpose, a bigger
Mm.
calling, but this individual for some reason, and yes, they were there to help me heal a lot of these narratives that I was holding on to, and that was another thing was that I think because our conversations were so deep, right? It's hard for me to find or to be in deep, deep, deep conversation with men like this, you
Yeah.
know. And so, the fact that this individual could just talk to me for hours was quite interesting. I'm like, okay. Um, but also the parallels, right? And us. So I don't have to say I love you. How is my energy like? Am I feeling like you 2 are meant for me as individual? You could be our soulmate twin flame.
Right.
Maybe your twin flame's out there, I don't know. But don't wish for it, okay? That's not good.
Unless you're prepared for the
Unless
rabbit
you're
hole that
prepared
you're gonna
to
fall
run
into.
or to chase, because 'cause you're gonna be one of the things. I'm a
Yeah.
chaser, and I'm gonna start Chasers Anonymous, okay? Just so you
Yeah.
all know.
Right, right.
Mhm.
President, vice president right here.
I know, it's
No, I
like, oh my
stopped
god.
chasing long ago. It
I
was
know.
yeah, it
Well,
was
that makes
really
you president.
beneficial.
Well, that makes you president then.
Yeah, right?
You can open the door and lead the way, girlfriend. Um, um, but the energy and the love and all that, and I wanted to cut cords. I was like, "Why can't I get this individual off
Yeah.
my
I
mind
did
for."
cut cords. I
Yeah, and
did.
it
I
doesn't
did
work,
so
right?
many ceremonies and rituals. I did all the things. I'd be out there having fires under full moons, like burning anything and everything I could. Oh my god, you have no idea. It was like, yeah.
Dancing around, drumming.
Yeah,
Go away, go
everything.
away.
Like, nope, not gonna happen.
It doesn't go away. And here's the deal. Okay, so here's why we're gonna I mean, this twin flames, we can go on forever and ever and ever about it because it's
Mm,
really kind of mind twisting and mind boggling. So
mm.
as you as I took on the chaser role, meaning I was reaching out to the individual, constantly reaching out to the individual. I mean, honestly, I did some crazy shit that I would never do ever in my life, ever, ever, ever. And I was like, send messages every day. Thought I was psycho. I mean, I was on the verge of probably looking kind of psycho. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm just gonna send him a message every single day. And I did for like, I don't even know how long. Good morning. And guess what? No response, right?
Wow.
No response from the individual, and I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't give a shit. This is how I feel." And it's because I had this unconditional love for this individual,
Mm.
who had
Was he
a higher
reading the
vib
messages?
Yeah, he's reading them, I guess.
Yeah.
He's probably reading them, and
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
and
was gonna say they usually like, from my experiences, yeah, like, I always felt like it was received, but there was just never any response.
mhm, yep, yep, yeah, it's
Like,
like
I'm
it's like a
curious and I'm gonna
classic
watch, but I'm
ghoster.
not gonna play.
It's like total classic ghoster, and I'm like, "Damn, that's, like, harsh," right? It
Yeah.
the harsh part about it is that there's really no reason for the individual to ghost you because it's not like I was asking for anything back from the individual except for communication,
Yeah.
connection, that's it. I'm not saying let's go, uh, be this happily ever after. I just wanna know you're okay. I wanna talk to you every day, right? I
Yeah.
wanna hear from you. I wanna know you're doing good. I wanna know that you're eating good and you're sleeping and that you're, just all these things, right? Which is just weird because yeah. So anyway, as time progresses, right? So I'm sending messages like literally. I'm surprised he's not like this lady's psycho. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I love you. Good morning every day, like clockwork. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this for the rest of his life. He's just gonna have to deal with it. Or block me. But of course there was no block, whatever. Um, but so then as time progresses, right, I stopped, of course, sending the message. I was like, this is a lot of work, man. So I was like, you know what? I can't, this person's not even reciprocating. Apparently it's like F you, right? I don't really give a shit. Um, I'm just gonna away. So for me, I'm like, well, whatever. I'm just fine. I'll just have to deal with it, right? But the fact that it was continuing to um, my heart was continuing to like over and over want to be with this person and just talk to them
Yeah.
and hang out with them and all this stuff, this longing, I just let it go.
Mm.
And years went by, right? Years went by, but every day they were on my mind, every
Yep.
single day.
Yep.
So, and I was like, wow, like what the hell, right? And so I eventually, I don't know, a long time had gone by. I would pray for them every single day, like my heart's there for you, all this kind of stuff. And then one day I was talking to my friend, I'm like, "God, it's been years and this person's still, on my mind. I don't know what to do, like, I can't understand why." And, I was like, "I really wanna reach out to them again." And I was like, "But I don't think they're gonna reach out, back to me." So I was brave enough to do it, and I got a message right away, right? And so then here we go, we start talking again, right?
Mm.
And, you know, again, we start Oh my god. We start talking again, and of course, it's wonderful, this and I did ask, and I think that's another thing with, you're an undecided person, right? Undecided? What do you mean by that? Undecided. Are you talking to me or Pam? Because I see there's, like, some conversations going on, so I'm not sure what's happening. Um, I know. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in the background. No, I'm not undecided. I am
Yeah.
frustrated that I'm stuck in this perpetual cycle of twin flame craziness, which
Yeah.
we're talking about, and that you can't just step away from it. It doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
And the hard part about it is that, I reached out, of course, we start talking again, and I did ask, and that was one thing that was common between us is that I literally was able to call him out on his shit all the time, which I had never been able to do before with any other person, right? Like, I just
Mm.
called him out, and he didn't like it, and I think that was it, is that no one ever really called him out on his shit, and I did.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said, why did you stop talking to me? What did I do to you? Like, just tell me." And he's like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
To be honest, nothing. I just was going through my stuff, this and that and the other. And I was like, "Don't do that to me again, please." Like, just I don't understand. And of course he did it again because that's
Yeah.
what happens, right?
Yeah, no, I asked too, "Please don't." And yeah, they do.
And then again, so it's happened
Oh.
multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm at this point, and I think Pam's at this point, she's a little ahead of the game on me on this one. But I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not chasing anymore. I just
Yeah.
am not gonna do it. But here's the twist, right? This is the plot twist, okay? This is where things get juicy.
Da 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 dun.
This person doesn't say they don't like me or they hate me. They're saying the opposite. I love you. I always have. They don't even live where I live, right? They've moved away and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I've always loved you. I'm like, when did this happen? Like, this individual has never said I love you. I was like, what? Like, for me, I was kind of thrown off. I think most people, okay, again, I'm not the woo woo girl. Most girls are
yeah.
like, he loves me. I'm like, what the hell's this? You've never said this before. So for me, I'm like, am I talking to the right person? Um, and I'm confused. I'm like, how do I respond to this? So then I kind of go, well, like, I don't understand. Like, you
Yeah,
love me? And how long have you known? I don't un And it was like, "Oh, it was instant, this and that and the other." So then we go back and
yeah.
forth, right? Because he was like, "I don't know how you feel." I'm like, "What do you mean you know how I feel? I think about you every day. I've told you millions of times I love you. I think about you all the time, this, that, the other." I don't get it. So for me, I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then so I'm like, "Okay, he loves me, whatever. I don't understand where this is coming from right now. Um, okay." And I'm just gonna go with it, but I'm not gonna be like, I don't know. I'm not gonna be I'm like, "Okay, if you love me, then show me." Like, I'm sorry, I'm just not one of those girls. I'm never gonna be one of those. I'm not, and I shouldn't say one of those girls. It's probably not nice to be saying one of those girls, but
Wear
but
your heart on your sleeve,
I
kind of,
know.
right,
Oh,
the
yeah, 'cause
feminine.
yeah, I think,
Yeah,
um, it's like, um, I just think that we've been programmed as women, maybe in this
yeah,
world to be like, listen, and I've never been like that. That's not who I am as an individual. And so for me, I'm very skeptical and I'm like, I don't know, and I'm like, you say you love me, and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with this information. That's how I'm feeling. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? You
yeah.
know? And so then I'm like, what are you trying to say? Like, are we going to try to work things out? Or are we, well, what is it that, working it out would look like? And so we're doing this like back and forth, and I'm like, we're getting somewhere with this thing. It's different this time, right? And no, it wasn't different. It wasn't different at all. In fact, we fell into the same pattern. It was like, oh, you would come
Yep.
visit me. I'm like, go visit you? What are you talking about? I love you. Like, I want to see you. I want to know you're okay. And then ghost
Yeah.
again. And I'm like, all right. You know what? Why don't you just say you hate me? I wish this person would say, "I hate you. I don't
Yeah.
wanna I don't like you. You bug me. I don't care. Give me something." So that I
Yeah. I know. I totally understand. I once asked, like, at least tell me to give up hope, right? Like, tell me it's not worth it to have hope that one day we'll be together. And like, no, couldn't even do it. Couldn't acknowledge that or say, like, yeah, extinguish it. Like
Mhm.
nothing. And so then it's like, okay, well, now the hope lives on. Oh,
I know. Who
yeah.
does that? Who does that? Who says I love you and then ghosts you? Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know. You guys listeners can help me out on this one because I don't get it. The only thing I have is twin flame shit because I don't know where to go with this, right? Hate is not easily said, but it is shown with force. Okay, thank you. But maybe it's not easily said, but even if he said, you bug me, leave me alone, I don't, something, right? No, he says, I love you and then ghosts me. Like, who does
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And
The
the fact
runner.
that, yeah, the
It's
runner.
too much. It's too intense.
It's too much, too intense. Am I married? No, I've never been married. Um, I don't even know if I believe in marriage. I don't believe in marriage. Um,
Well, and honestly, the part of my myth with the twin flame is it helped free me of my marriage, honestly. And that's the thing again, looking at the roles of the twin flames, right? There's going to be that distance. You're not going to live next door to each other realistically where it's convenient. There's going to be cultural gaps or age gaps. There's going to be, miles between you. So there's
Mhm.
all these like barriers and challenges that the universe already kind of brings into it. So you've got to like kind of go through the testing and the lessons and the hurdles of it. And I feel like even with my cycles, it's been do you accept this mission? You know, you know, like the hero's journey, like you've come out at the end, here's your elixir of life. Now before you want to start over again, do you accept the mission? Do you choose this person, you know, even? And I'm always like, yes, 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 even though like I just had my heart handed to me in 1,000 pieces of confetti and I felt like dying for the past 5 months. Like, yeah, let's do it again. um, but I will say, if you look again at the myth story before we do wrap up or whatever soon, I just want to point out like Jesus and Mary are twin flames. And I feel like culture has completely right shredded the feminine imagery through Mary, Magdalene, not the mother Mary, but Magdalene.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you have Christ consciousness, and so the feminine mirroring aspect of that is the Sophia consciousness.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when we're looking at something beyond the ego, it's embodying the masculine and feminine of Christ and Sophia and bringing them into this harmony within yourself and now
Mhm.
embodying and
Mhm.
living from that space. And so
Mhm.
I do believe honestly that we are in a time of twin flame reunions.
Mhm.
I think personally it's happening in waves. That's why it's like I can sit here and say I'm further ahead, you know, or whatever, more evolved in the journey because I woke up to it first,
Mhm.
you know, 9 years ago compared to you, you know, 5 years ago. So there are stages and waves of the collective that are kind of this is happening to them.
Mhm.
And that's why I feel like it is important at this place to finally come forward and address it because it's something I wouldn't. I avoided like the plague.
Yep.
um, uh, but now it's like, okay, we have to give this correct information and this guidance.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so with that, if you look at different cultures, if you look at these couples, these gods, these goddesses, you know, whatnot, Isis, Osiris, Shiva, like Shakti.
Mhm.
These are the divine feminine and the divine masculine in their like wholeness in this beautiful balance. And it's taking on those energies, right? What is the masculine? Well, he's the provider and the protector, right? He has these certain traits that he is going to embody through that, or even she, because we have both energies in ourselves. One's just more dominant. And then with the feminine, it's that nurturing, creative, intuitive caregiver. And so these roles have to um again be in equilibrium within yourself. You need to be able to feel safe and secure in your body that you're provided and protected for so that you can be intuitive and creative and nurture yourself and the
Mhm.
people around you.
Mhm.
And so once I feel like you go through all of the darkness and all of the hard work and all of the, you know, the cycles and patterns and you're able to break them and heal them, I feel like there is growth and you do come to this new place um, where it's not so heavy, right? That suffering, that
Mhm.
pain, that
Mhm.
confusion. You're never
Mhm.
going to get know all of it. There's going to be mystery. You know, you're never going to be able to figure out why they're doing what they're doing and feeling the way they feel. And, you know, and I think there you just have to accept and let go of that and just, you know, because otherwise you're just causing your own suffering to continue.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I do feel like you and I, right? We've talked about this. We've done the work. We're doing the work, regardless of the other person being in our life or not.
Mhm.
We're
That's
showing up
right.
every day for ourselves. So
Yep.
we are healing ourselves. So I'm a twin flame, you're a twin flame. We're not each other's, right? We're not in a couple sense like that, but we are twin flame soulmates where
Mhm.
we can come together and create women of consciousness now and we can look at like our mission because like you said there's a soul purpose that
Mhm.
is so much bigger, and because you are a twin flame, like your purpose is bigger in a sense, like
Mhm.
you are restructuring the energetic layers
Mhm.
of the Earth's grid. Like we are healing past paradigms while laying the seeds and the foundations for new paradigms. And
Mhm.
so I think, and I feel in my heart, and I think maybe this is where the woo woo of the love and the feelings
Mhm.
comes into play,
Yeah.
right, with the collective,
Yep.
um, because it's like two pillars, right?
Mhm.
And when you look at the tarot and all this symbolism, it is that strong feminine, it is that strong masculine, and in their own separateness, but then coming together in their own union. And it's like the new leaders to
Mhm.
like we can't continue as a collective where we've been. And so I feel like twin flames are going to be these portals of light, these pillars of light that are going to hold the structure of the matrix in place while the frequencies are, being elevated and cleansing out the old dense stuff. So I
Mhm.
really feel like as an energy worker, that's part of my mission. That's what I have to do. That's why I have to transmute and take on the heavy stuff and
Mhm.
release it. But knowing that there's so much beauty on the other side that's beyond the human body and the human ego.
Mhm.
And I think at the end of the day, if people tap into that part of it more, of the myth in themselves, I think that's where a huge, huge life changing difference can be seen and felt. Because then it comes to a place where you can just embrace these relationships, right? I've aligned with so many soulmates, and it was like, here we go for more shadow work. But I'm
Yeah.
never going to
We're
like
gonna like
marry or be
marry
with
or
this
be with
person, and
um
that's okay. So I'm
so
just gonna see
just
what I have
gonna
to learn in this journey.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the integration of the sacred feminine and masculine within, which is really, Pamela Anderson Cooper. You guys are good speakers. That's funny. But the integration of the sacred feminine and masculine, and I know with
Oh.
me myself, right, when we bring it down to this three-dimensional time space, and the body that I am living in at this point, right, is that there is this balance that I know personally I needed to understand, which is within myself, which is the sacred feminine, right? As you know, I'm
Mm.
calling it woo-woo stuff and all the, all the, and I'm learning, and I know that, and it's funny because I'm very, very, um, I have a lot of masculine energy that I hold. I just do,
Yeah,
right?
right, and I'm
And
the opposite, I'm the feminine, that's how we
yeah,
work so well together.
it's
We're
so
like
true. Tell me
our
about
own twin flame yin yang dynamic here.
it. That's true.
Yeah.
But this individual, and I always said, it's going to take this very strong masculine energy to like, and that's what happened with this individual, right? He's a very like direct, straightforward, like no nonsense. I told him, you realize you're like an intimidating person. And that's
Mm.
why, he is, but he
Yeah.
doesn't intimidate me, but he does what he has to say. I listen to because he is very direct and he is on point and he is doing, and he does show up more masculine than I do, which is good, right? That's like, yes, I need that, right? Because I need to allow my sacred feminine
Mm.
to be magnified, right? I need to be able to have that nurturing, loving kindness to myself, right? Which I didn't, right? I was like the drill sergeant my whole life. And it was like, get this done, get that done, get this done. And then that's why I had no time to even think about this relationship woo woo stuff that I say that I call it woo woo because I was busy providing for myself, protecting myself, assuming that masculine role so that I could take care of myself. Like I had no choice, right? It's like you either do this or don't. I wasn't seeking a man to do that for me. I was seeking it in myself.
Yep.
And but to balance the energy that you're talking about, and it's not a fun journey, right? Yes, we want to get to this place of bliss and balance, but the task at hand, the journey at hand is not fun. You have to go through shadow. You have to go through the hard times to get there. And so part of it is me allowing myself to um drop into that sacred feminine, which I've been doing such a good job. I'm very proud of myself. I'm just going to put that out there because
Yeah.
I have been doing a good job of allowing myself to just, relax
Yeah.
and drop into my heart and be able to be creative and intuitive and free flowing and be gentle with myself, which I'm not gentle with myself. I'm usually hard on myself. Like I'm harder on myself than anybody else. But
Mm,
it is the reintegration, and that's what I love about the twin flame scenario, is that it is this balance internally.
mhm.
And so here's what happened, and I want to tell this story because the twin flame, like I said, we could probably do a whole nother episode on this, but
Days and days.
I don't want to believe in the twin flame scenario because you talk about like the rise of gods and goddesses, right? The rise of us assuming these roles on the planet. It's needed right now.
Yes.
We do need it. We do
Mhm.
need it. And we are showing up for each other, right? Maybe our
Yep.
twin flame isn't waking up, or maybe they are doing the work. I don't know what they're doing. I don't
Yeah, I have no
really
idea.
know. But we're not doing it together, and that's where it needs to be done, right? Us
Yeah.
together as a community, and uniting, and so we're uniting, right? So you and I
Yep.
are uniting, or we're reuniting with other twin flames, right?
Yep.
And perhaps they are sleeping. But here's the deal of the entanglement is that I wanted to dismiss this myth again. I wanted to dismiss it because I'm like, you know what? I can control this, right? I'm in control. But there's not. There's greater energies out there, whether you guys want to
Yeah.
believe it or not. There are things that we cannot explain. And so for me, I was like, well, part of the twin flame story too is like you're gonna see signs. You'll see signs if you're the chaser, the one who's always chasing, and there's a runner,
Yeah.
and you stop chasing, and that's my mission is to stop chasing. I don't need to chase anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just need to be with me.
Yep.
That the signs of this individual is gonna get more profound, right? It's gonna magnify, it's gonna be stronger and stronger, right?
Yeah.
So this is why we're talking about it today too, because I told Pam, like she said, she tried cutting cords. We try to do these things, right? We're like, get this person
Yeah.
off my mind. I'm over it. They're not
Yeah.
even paying attention to me. They don't even care about me. Like that's how I feel.
Right.
I'm like, what am I
Yep.
doing? And I'm like, I told my sister that it's like, well, we can see signs in anything. You guys, we can make up shit all day long, right? That's what we do. We make up stuff. Even this myth is made up stuff. But anyway, I'm like, we can see signs in everything, 11, and, they say all these things. I'm like, whatever, we can see signs and I can make it up. Oh, that reminds me of him. It must be a sign. Well, I was like, no, those are signs, and it's because I have these feelings for this individual. So of course I'm going to see signs. But here's where my consciousness, right?
Mm.
And my subconscious and conscious and everything in between went back to the twin flames. There is something beyond us. Yeah. You want to know that there's something beyond us? So this is the story, and this is why Um, I sort of can see how the twin flame scenario is a profound myth, an archetypal pattern, an energy that we embody. I'm laying there at night, right? And so I do kung fu. So I don't know if you guys know that I do kung fu. Anyway, on the equinox, um, I was at a seminar for kung fu, and we were doing the dragon versus tiger form. And I think this is a high up. It's a seminar. It's for like master degrees and stuff. I'm not a master, right? I'm just a disciple. I'm just a baby kung fu warrior. Anywho, so we're doing this tiger form, and it's a yin yang. Okay, it's this yin yang energy,
Mm.
and it's really
On the
funny because
equinox.
on the equinox,
No
and it's
signs at all,
just
Natalie.
I know, and it's beautiful. I mean, the form was amazing. It starts off with the dragon, which is this very tai chi opening, right? Where you're just like breathing and you're setting yourself up for this battle that's about to happen. But what they realize, the tiger and the dragon, is they realize that they're equal forces, so they can't beat each other. So
Yeah.
they just kind of just okay. They like kind of call a truce right at the end of the form, but I'm doing this form and it's connecting with me, and I'm just like, "Whoa," like, I remember the whole form, and it's not a short form, it's a very long form, right? So I'm like, wow. And then all the people in my class are like, this form is like perfect for you. Even, Master Abraham was like, I could see you doing this every day as a practice, like in the morning, just getting up and doing this form. But so I'm like, okay, so there's this yin yang energy on the equinox. I'm like, you know what? This twin flame stuff is crazy. I've got it. I'm good. So here's where things get strange and weird, okay? Here's the story. This is where things get a little bit wonky. I know, and this is where energy don't lie, just like the hips don't
Right.
lie.
Nice.
So so I so I go, I'm there, right, and I'm like, "Oh my god." So, I'm so tired. I mean, I did 8 hours, almost 3,000 calories burnt, right? So it's, like, late at night, I'm just tired, I'm kinda laying on the couch, I'm like, "It's time to go to bed." So I just go to lay down, go to charge my phone, and then I just start to kind of fall asleep, and then out of nowhere, my phone starts blasting a song. And it's the only song I've ever sent this individual. I don't even like why, right? Out of nowhere, right? And I'm like, "What?" And I mean, it just woke me out. I was like in that space just before you go into sleep, just that sweet spot. And it just jolts me out. And I'm like, "What the hell?" So I go to turn it off and it's like, "No apps are running and it won't shut up." And I'm like, "How do I shut this off? Shut up." Finally shut it up. Then I'm like, "Okay, I need to go to the restroom now." And then it starts blaring again, and I'm like, "Oh my god, please don't tell me it's gonna happen all night. Like, I just don't need this right now." I was fine, doing fine. They were out of my head. Well, they weren't out of my head, but I was doing good. I wasn't feeling the need to reach out. I wasn't feeling the need to connect. I was doing good. I was focusing
Mm,
on myself. And it's that song again, right? And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is gonna
yeah.
be an all-night occurrence." I was freaking out, but I fell asleep, so I finally shut it off, fell asleep, and then as soon as I wake up in the morning, it blasts again. I'm like, "Really?" Now now it's been happening randomly out of nowhere. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened on this show, just randomly started playing the damn song, and
Oh,
that's when I said, "Fine, I surrender to this damn narrative and this myth story, okay? Fine."
yeah.
Fine. But at the end of the day, as Pam was saying, and she put it so eloquently, that it is that calling back to your own sacred self. That's why I like the myth because it's not about the individual, it's about you doing your own internal work.
Mhm.
Okay. It's your own internal work, right? And I can't stress that enough. It's not about the other individual. And then that's why I am okay with being on board with this narrative because it's about you, it's about me, it's about Pam, it's about all of us really doing that internal work so that we can find our wholeness within that balance, right? The yin yang symbol,
Yeah.
right? Where we look at healing the wounded sacred, masculine and the wounded feminine
Yep.
internally, which we all carry. So
Yes.
whenever that individual's going through, which obviously there's a lot of wounded, probably sacred feminine in him, is what I'm guessing, because I
Mhm.
had wounded masculine and well, both, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But mostly masculine. I mean, I was leading through the masculine more than anything, and I needed to ignite that feminine energy within me to heal. And so that balance of the yin yang, and I love the yin yang, and that's why our symbol, our
Yeah.
logo is the yin yang because it is that balance between the two. Now, is it ever fully balanced? No. It's a thin line, right, that you're walking, but the idea is that you don't want the pendulum to be swinging so crazy that you can't keep up. You
Yeah.
kind of want this like it's like what are those the pendulums, what are they? Well, I guess they're just pendulums, right? Where they just kind of you want it to be a slow, steady movement between the
Oh, like the
poles.
clanking ball
Yeah,
things.
and you want it
Yeah.
to be just like slow, steady movement,
Yeah.
right? Right in the center. And you're just looking because it's never going to be perfectly balanced. That's just not the case. It's not we live in this three-dimensional time space. It's not going to be that way. It's
Yeah.
always going to be, walking on a tightrope basically. You're just learning how to balance better. And your twin flame is there to show you how to do that. And I think that, and so for me, the realization is like, okay, I just got to keep focusing on myself. I'm not going to chase the individual. I'm not going to reach out to this individual. I'm not going to. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, is not reach out to somebody who I love and care for, and I want to know that they're okay. But I can't.
Yeah. And
And
I
it's not that I can't. Go ahead.
no, I agree with you. Like it is the hardest thing because I've come to the space where like I can never ever do it again. The
Mm,
last time I did, it was after ayahuasca and it was like a
yeah.
death and rebirth. And that served, I think a good 9-month course or whatnot. But yeah, it's to the place where I can never ever reach out again. Like it has
Mhm.
to be
Yep.
their turn. And when they're ready, if they're ever ready, like who knows? And I think that's part of those stages you get through and that
Yeah.
you finally manage to get to to the ending or whatever. Who knows if it's just another beginning, I guess, but
Death and
it
rebirth.
feels like an ending, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it could be like death and rebirth, but real, and
Yeah,
it's a reclaim, and
absolutely.
it's also a reclaiming of yourself, that you're whole, perfect,
Yeah,
complete within your own self, and that
yeah,
this individual kind of guided you there. But you have to recognize it, because I was searching for this, even though I would say I wasn't, I was chasing this individual to find wholeness, but, and it's because the twin flame says that you were separated, but the reality is you have your own internal balance, your own internal
yeah,
wholeness, right? And that, and again, and I kind of like the idea. I guess I never thought about Jesus Christ like that, which is kind of cool. I think you might have told me in the past that it's, one of those things. Again, Pam is more along the path more than I am. I'm the baby in this situation. I'm like, please help me through this crazy shit. Help me get through it. Um, but I never thought of it that way. And I think that that's it. It's that, we need men, and let's just say this, we need men to rise up and be men. Like we need
embrace your
women to rise
feminine,
up.
heal your masculine.
Yeah, and to be whole men, right? To go do
Yeah,
the work, just like us women get to do the work, so that there's union, complete union within
yeah,
ourselves, but
mm,
also in community. So that there's this balance within the community. And that's really what Women of Consciousness is about. The twin flame story is a powerful story. It's a powerful myth. It's a powerful narrative. And at least it gives us a container to put, if you're going through something like we are, it gives you a narrative. It gives you a container to kind of understand where you're at. It,
yeah,
it it's not fully an answer, but at least helps guide you. Like it's guiding me through something that I don't understand. It's beyond my understanding. And then I'm like, I don't know where to put this, right? Why this individual? Why do I think about him every day? Why this? They're not even here. They're not even by me. I don't even, you know? So
yeah.
it's like, yeah. So again, well, go ahead.
No, I was trying to think, like closure, right? You
Mhm.
get closure in life with like everything, but the
Mhm.
twin flame, there's no real closure there. It's just
No.
like, okay, well, this chapter ended. Now we got to wait for like the next chapter to write itself.
It's
Oh
painful. It's not, I don't wish this upon anybody. I'm gonna tell you right now. So if you're
yeah.
all looking for your twin flame, good luck. I don't know if you better do some research before you just go out looking for your other half. If you are a twin flame, because not everybody has that myth. Not everybody's connected to that
Right.
narrative. There's other myths out there. Um, but and then part of it, I think, and it's funny this morning because I'm like, I'm not the twin flame, like, he's not even thinking about me, he doesn't even give a shit, right? Excuse my language. He doesn't care. I'm the one who's caring, he's the one he's not caring, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yep.
He's just
I've
going on with his life, you know what I mean?
definitely thought that
And
too a lot. Yeah.
yeah, um,
I think
right?
that's the narrative we tell ourselves to ease it, and it doesn't work because deep down we know that they do care. They're just absent.
I know, it's a wild journey to be on, man, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like, never in my life did I think. And then
right.
I just think of that song, "Everybody plays the fool." I'm like, "Is that what he meant? I'm the fool." the fool. I never thought I would be the fool, but here I am, the fool. Um, I'm just glad I could laugh about it. I like to joke about it because there's no other way for me. I just
Yeah,
gotta put some jokes on it, just sprinkle it with
right.
some joke. But again, as Pam was saying, it is this beautiful journey back to wholeness, back to ourself, back to our oneness, back to that balance. Now in the twin flame kind of scenario theory, whatever you want to call it, myth, is that the goal is not to be together, and you may not be together in this lifetime, but it doesn't matter because they're still a part of you. So you could see it like quantum physics, quantum entanglement, right?
Yep.
Where you have this separation, but it doesn't matter where in the universe you are energetically, you're always going to be connected. And so, you know, I guess the biggest thing for me with this quantum entangled partner of mine is that I send out, love and, kindness. And, I just want to know the individual's doing okay, and sending out all of that goodness to that individual, because I don't want them to hurt if they're
Right.
hurting. I mean, I just want them to have a good life and be safe. And, maybe that's all I'll ever get is this telepathic messages I'm sending to the individual, hoping that they're receiving it and that they know that there's someone out there who really does care about them and
Yeah.
their well-being and has unconditional love for this individual, right? And
Yeah.
that it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Um but it is pretty painful, to not hear from the individual.
Yeah.
And that's something that I get to heal for within myself. And that's what I'm working on is healing that within myself. But I will not be chasing. And one thing with the chaser runner part of the twin flame scenario is that when the chaser stops chasing, the messages become more profound, and this is kind of where I was like, "Well, I stopped chasing and I could see messages and everything, but now my phone is yelling at me, 'Hey, listen over here, buddy.'" I'm like,
Right.
"Really? Like, when did you get to control my life, phone? I'm gonna throw you out the window." I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the universe always finds a way.
I know, and it doesn't matter. So I get the
Yeah.
message. I will say that I am a twin flame. I am Natalie. I'm a twin flame. I am Natalie. I am a chaser. It has been probably 4 months since I did my last chase, and I plan to not do it.
I love it. I'm so proud of you. Oh,
Oh,
well,
thank you. Thanks for your time here. I gotta go now. I'll pray for you guys, Women of Consciousnesses and Pamela. Much love for you. Thank you so much. We
aw,
appreciate, and I
yeah.
appreciate your humor. You can always bring that. I like to make jokes of things if you haven't noticed. Um, lots and lots of love to you. Hopefully you're
Yeah,
not a
thank
twin
you.
flame. If you are, I hope this helped.
Right. That's all we can do.
So,
That's all we can do
let's
is
hope.
give advice and guidance.
I know. My goodness. So yeah, so there's that. And Pam, do you want to say anything else before we wrap it up today?
Um, I mean, I guess I would just say, like, if you are a twin flame, if you are listening and you do resonate, just do what works for you. The Facebook groups, like the social media kind of pages, the information that's out there, it can get really overwhelming because there are people, with so many different beliefs and thoughts and experiences that I feel like that in itself can be very heavy energy to try when you're looking for answers or clues. So just, yeah, just follow your heart, like go within the answers you seek, all of those questions you're going to find it through introspection and retrospection of your own journeys and cycles. Wizard of Oz has been a huge theme for my journey, so it's easy for me to kind of navigate the path depending on how, like, Dorothy and the Yellow Brick Road show up, because it
Uh,
always does in different
uh-huh.
ways. So yeah, so the more that you're able to kind of see those things, you're able to understand, like, okay, what's my lesson, what's my purpose. um and just get through the stages. Do research if you need to, like at the stages, but definitely just don't get stuck in any one space. You got to keep loving yourself and keep healing and keep moving along. Um, but yeah, I think it's definitely a time where twins are awakening, they're rising up, they're choosing to do the mission. And I really believe it's about where we're going as a collective consciousness, where our planet itself is evolving to, for the greater good of the universe. So, in that sense, like, we need the people to do their work.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so go out and do your work.
Right, go do your shadow work. It's not a big deal. Just cry,
Go do your
lay
stuff.
in
No,
bed, like
we're he
Grew
we're here.
society.
I know. We're here. We know Pam and I are like doing the work together and separately and together, and but we're here for
Yeah,
you guys. That's what we're here.
yeah,
That's what this is about, right? Community, supporting each other through the
absolutely.
narrative. And
Yeah,
if
you're
you're a
not
twin
alone.
flame, you're not alone. And if you're a
Yeah.
twin flame, yeah, by all means reach out to us. Like we're both in it, I'm in it. Like I'm like, okay, I've drank the Kool-Aid.
I
I'm a twin
believe
flame.
now.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid after my phone started doing that. I'm like, I don't know if I can get away from it. Um, you know, hope is that the other individual's getting all my messages, right? Like, I love you, I'm here for you, I care about you, that's my
Yeah,
thing. I'm like, is the individual receiving it? Um, but again, not my problem. Okay. So
right?
focus on yourself, Natalie. Just start focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great. Um, but yes, if you guys are going through that journey, we are here for you. And if you don't know what your myth is, or you're searching or you're kind of lost, I always say go to myth. Myth will help you through the hero's journey, your hero's journey, whatever that may be. It may not be
Mm,
twin flame, it may be something completely different. But that's what the gods were for, right? That pantheon of gods were just to help us kind of navigate the 3D waters, the 3D matrix, if you will. So,
yeah.
all right, so there you have it. So we love
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it was great. I love doing these shows.
I know. And have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Yep, bye.
Bye.